You are listening to the Navigating Adult ADHD podcast with your ADHD coach and expert, Zena. Hello, my friend. Welcome back. We're navigating adult ADHD together. That's what we're doing today, and I'm so happy you are here. So I have just come back from having a blood test done, and when I got there, I was in a waiting room with 8 other people. And I was on my phone responding to a Facebook message asking me about ADHD and where to get diagnosed locally, etc. And I finished replying to that message and I put my phone away and I looked around the room and every single person was on their phone. There was a husband and wife, then there was a mother and son, and also a mother and daughter, and a couple of other people. Every single one was on their phone, and I found that so fascinating. And so I get called through to get my blood drawn, and I'm chatting to the woman who's taking my blood, and I said, hey, I was just in the waiting room, and I just observed it was so fascinating that everybody was on their phone. And she said, oh, I actually work in another branch as well, and in that branch, they don't get internet reception. And she said, it's so funny because everybody comes in and they try to go on their phone and they soon figure they can't get the internet, so they put their phones away. And she said, the conversations that happen in that waiting room are awesome. There is so much laughter and connection. And she said, then there's like the oldies talking with the young ones. And she said, it's just so great. And it got me thinking about the recent episode that I recorded about oxytocin. And this is something I have been a little bit more mindful of recently, is having deliberate connections with people and having just those little conversations like I had with the lady who was taking my blood, and we started, chatting about it and had a really great chat and it was really nice. But there is no oxytocin release when we're all sitting there at, scrolling on our phones, staring at our screens. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm so guilty of this. I've just become much more mindful of it recently, especially after that episode and doing a lot of research around oxytocin. And just like a real quick recap in case you missed that episode, or hi, because we have ADHD and we forget. But oxytocin is that chemical that's released in your brain that is like the warm fuzzy chemical. That's how I think of it. It's like the love drug. It is a really nice feeling that we get when we connect with other people. And it can be just as simple as having a random conversation with the woman who's drawing your blood today. So anyway, I wanted to share that because it's just been on my mind this morning. But today, we are going to talk about naming your ADHD brain, and I'm going to share with you how I managed to name my brain Kevin. So, you know that voice in your head, that really mean voice that says things like, you should be doing more, and what the fuck is wrong with you? You shouldn't have said that. Why can't you remember her name? You've met her 3 times already. And you should have finished that ages ago. You know that one, right? That voice in your head that speaks to you and treats you like an absolute asshole. The voice in your head that catastrophises, that criticizes you or convinces you that basically you are just not good enough and you will never be good enough. Just this week, actually, I caught myself having an inner dialogue that went something like this. I should have finished that webpage last week. Why is it taking me so long? I have got this massive list of other shit that I need to be working on. For fuck's sake, I just don't seem to be getting anywhere. Now, I want you to imagine that I said that to an employee, that I said that to somebody who is a valuable member of my team. Imagine I said to them, hey, Lisa, you should have finished that webpage last week. What is taking you so long? You've got a massive list of other shit that you need to be working on. For fuck's sake, you just don't seem to be getting anywhere. Imagine if I said that to Lisa, my imaginary employee. Okay, it would not be long before I was getting dragged into HR's office and probably getting some sort of formal warning for verbally abusing my team members. And yet, this is exactly what's happening inside of our brains on a daily basis. Okay? So if we go back to Lisa for a minute, imagine that I talk to her like that at work every single day. And I said things to her like, man, you're such a failure. Nobody likes you, Lisa. You should have finished that weeks ago. Why can't you get your shit together? How do you think that that would impact Lisa's self-esteem, her confidence? How do you think she would feel? Pretty shit, right? And over time, that's going to erode her self-esteem. And this is exactly what is happening inside our ADHD brains. And that's why I named my brain and why I want to invite you to name yours too. Because when you name this part of your brain, you create space between you and that mental noise, or in many cases, mental beating. Right? Instead of I'm such a failure, it becomes, oh, Frank is just being an asshole again. Right? Instead of I should be further along, it's, oh, Doris is loud and opinionated today. Naming your brain gives you distance between the negative thoughts or the negative voice, the mean voice inside of your head, and you. Okay? So when you hear yourself saying mean shit, things that you probably would not say to anybody that you love and care about, you get to call it out and say, hey, not today, Nigel. And here's the best part. Neuroscience backs it up, my friends, right? That's right. It is scientifically proven. This idea, this tool, this naming of your brain is scientifically proven to help dramatically reduce negative thoughts and ruminating. Now, I don't know about you, but I would love to be able to reduce the negative thoughts and the ruminating. Hell yes, sign me up. Naming your brain, or like personifying, giving a personality to this inner voice, is a psychological tool, and it is called externalization. Okay? By giving your mental chatter a name and a persona, you separate your core self from the intrusive thoughts, the anxiety, the inner critic, right? Or I like to refer to it as the asshole in the brain. And my friends, I have to tell you, it works. I have been doing this now for a number of years, both myself and with the clients that I support, teaching them, how to actually do this. And it is a game changer, okay? So just the other day, I was doing a check-in with a regular client, and I asked her to rate her self-esteem on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being shit in the toilet, terrible, and 10 being amazing. I've got so much self-esteem, I've never felt so good, okay? And when we begun our work together, she was at a 2. And just a couple of days ago, when I was doing this activity with her, she said her self-esteem is currently at an 8.5 out of 10. And she said that naming her brain, she's named her brain Karen, and learning to pay attention to Karen, to notice her, to call her out and talk back to her, has played a key role in helping her to increase her self-esteem and also improve her relationship with herself. So, of course, I knew in that moment that I had to bring this to the podcast to share this with you too, my friend. Okay? So over the years, the name of my brain has evolved. It has changed. It went from Helga to Sparkles to Brain. Sometimes I still refer to it as Brain. And most recently, it has become Kevin. That's right, Kevin. Kevin is dramatic. He catastrophizes. He loves to ruminate. He is super negative. And he thinks that one typo in an email is going to ruin my career and make everybody hate me. Okay? Now, I know that it sounds a little crazy, right? Naming your brain, Kevin or Crazy Craig or Negative Nancy. But here's the thing. It is backed by science and it actually works. Instead of I'm anxious, it becomes Kevin is on fire today. Or instead of I'm a failure, it becomes, oh, Kevin is catastrophizing. Or Kevin's just being a real ass today. And it works because you're creating separation between you and the thoughts in your head, instead of them meshing and merging and becoming one. Okay? You get to watch what Kevin is saying. You get to call him out. You get to create this distance from the negative story that he's telling you, right? You get to create distance from the negative feelings that he stirs up. And that, my friend, is where your power is. Kevin is a storyteller, not a fortune teller. Okay, I'm going to say that again. Your brain, this part of your brain, this inner critic, is a storyteller, not a fortune teller. So by naming this part of your brain, by naming Kevin or Nigel or Trevor or Wanda, you're helping to create distance from the chaos in your head. This is so good for us ADHDers, my friends. It's so freaking good. Okay? So I want to share with you 3 reasons why this technique works. Okay? And this is kind of coming back to the science of it. So the first one is self-distancing. You shift from being trapped inside of a negative story to watching it like an outside observer. Okay? So it's a lot like kind of watching a movie. Instead of being in it, you're actually watching it from the outside. Okay? So it's called self-distancing. The second reason why this technique works is because it reduces emotional power. Okay? Or emotional intensity. Labeling that voice, right? Calling out, hey, Kevin, right? You turn down the volume, you turn down the intensity on the emotions, and it helps to activate the more rational pathways in our brain. Okay? The third reason why this technique works is it helps to build self-compassion, which is a very powerful tool, right? So it's helping you to separate your core identity, who you really are, from the temporary anxiety, from the self-doubt that Kevin is stirring up, or the overthinking that he is fueling. Okay? So again, 3 reasons why this technique works: the self-distancing, the reduction of the emotional power, or the reduction of like emotional intensity, and then it helps to build self-compassion. Okay? Again, proven, my friends. So I want to share with you a really simple way to use this tool, to do this. Okay? How to do it. Again, 3 steps. Super easy. The first one is you've got to pick a name. And this is so fun. Pick a name that is playful. Pick a name that is something that you just don't like a name that you would never name your child. Okay, so either something really playful or something that really stirs up dislike in you. So it might be Alex the Overthinker or Worrying Wanda, right? Some of my clients have gone with Sandra because they had a school bully at school who was called Sandra, and I think that's such a great way to do it. Pick a nasty person from your past, right? That's a great name. Dominic the Dick. I love that one. This person didn't like the name Dominic, and I was like, well, it rhymes with Dick. So it became Dominic the Dick, right? Another one I have is Doris. And a name I thought of the other day that I think Kevin may eventually transition into is Pickle Tits. Yes, I said Pickle Tits. For some reason, it just came to me and it just made me laugh. And I think, again, it's helping to sort of separate me from that part of my brain. And if I'm saying, listen, Pickle Tits, like you are on fire today, chill out in the corner. Okay. Again, if it's something playful, something humorous, it might be like one of my clients did, a school bully from the past. Or I've even had people who have said, actually, that was my father's name or my mother's name, but that was the negative voice that I heard so much growing up that I feel like, you know, when I describe the persona of this voice in my head, that's who it is. Okay? So such a great way to do it. But first thing you got to do, pick a name. Okay? And you can totally go with Kevin. For me, I actually heard this the other day. I am a feminist, right? Don't get me wrong. I love all of the men in my life and I love the male clients I get to work with. But being a feminist is more about equal rights for everybody, right? And that includes people with differences and disabilities. It's not just women. And I heard this, I think it was a TikTok video or something I was watching the other day, say that she decided to name her brain with an old white man's name because for her, she would never take, advice from some old white dude telling her what to do. Again, it's a real feminist thing. I know it's not going to be for everyone, but for me, I was like, yeah, actually, you know what? I'm not going to. Kevin is some old white guy, and I actually knew a Kevin growing up, and he was a bit of a negative guy, a bit of a dick, right? He was the father of some girls I knew growing up. And I was like, you know what? Like, that really is who Kevin is, and I would never listen to him. Like, I would never take advice from him. I would just roll my eyes every time he talked. So however it works for you to pick a name, there's some really good ideas there for you, my friend, okay? My partner, I actually went as far as to name his brain, this part of his brain, Alan, because my partner works with a guy called Alan. And Alan is the most negative guy I think I've ever come across in my life. And he's real angry and he goes really, really red all of the time. He fires himself up. But he never has anything good to say. He's just constantly negative. Nothing's ever good enough. He always finds the bad. And I was like, when my partner was saying something the other day, I was like, wow, Alan's super loud today. And he just cracked up. So now this part of his brain is called Alan. Okay? So number one in how we do this is we pick a name, okay? The second step in this process is to observe the patterns. It is to notice what your brain says to you, specifically the negative stuff, the nasty stuff, the critical stuff. What does your mind do? What does it say when you feel stressed? Does it catastrophize? Does it replay awkward moments? Does it tell you that you suck? Okay, start to notice that. Start to pay attention to that negative voice, that mean voice inside of your head. And step 3 is to talk back. Call it out and talk back, my friend. Okay, it might sound like, hey, thanks for the warning, Alan, but we're okay. Or classic Barry energy right now. I am not buying it. Okay, you get to call it out, talk back. And this is quite fun, right? Hey, Kevin, not today, mate. Take a seat. Back up, Kevin. I've got there's lots of things I say. And half the time I say it out loud. Admittedly, I work from home, so that's okay. But to be fair, I probably would do it in the supermarket if Kevin was being an ass to me in the supermarket. So if you ever walk past me and you hear me, if you see me in the supermarket or wherever I'm out in the wild and you hear me having this conversation by myself to Kevin, you know exactly what's going on. So again, my friends, step 1, pick a name. Step 2, start to notice and observe the patterns, right? The negativity, the mean stuff, the criticisms that happen in your head. Step 3 is to call it out and talk back. Okay? So for those of us with ADHD who have been living with so much shame our whole lives, this is a lot like being given the steering wheel back. Right? You can absolutely tell Frank to sit down and be quiet in the cheap seats while you send an email that, you had planned to send yesterday. Okay? He doesn't need to ridicule you for that, beat you up, be an ass about it. Sit down, Frank. Right? Be quiet over there. Right? You get to stop being the passenger who is constantly being verbally abused all day, feeling like you don't have a say in where you're going and what you're doing. And you get to get into the driver's seat and take back control. Okay, so again, this tool, this naming of your brain is just like you getting the steering wheel back, getting back in the driver's seat. So my friend, pick a name today for your brain. And I would love to hear what you choose. You can message me on Facebook or on Instagram. You can send me an email, zena@navigatingadultadhd.com. My friend, it is time to take back your brain. Huge love. Take care. I'll speak to you next week. Hey friend, if you want some more help navigating and thriving with ADHD and some help applying everything that you're learning here on the podcast, then head over to our website, navigatingadultadhd.com.